At our academy, we believe that learning self-defense is a necessity, not a luxury. Hey everyone, this video is dedicated to our friend Jeff Moore, 4940, who in the comment section of a different video asked us this question. What would you suggest as an alternative for learning effective self-defense? First, Jeff, thank you so much for this question. We really appreciate the feedback. I was checking the analytics the other day. We've got viewers in Canada. Most of them are here in America, but we've got some in Australia and even some in India. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. We really appreciate it. And we do read the comments, and I do try to reply to the comments as quickly as I can. So I took this question to mean, what other options do I have if jiu-jitsu's not a good option? Or maybe you don't like jiu-jitsu. You know, it never fails. No matter what somebody's martial art of preference is, they believe that that martial art is the best, right? Like Krav Maga guys believe that Krav Maga is the best, and TKD guys believe that TKD is the best. Well, truth is, jiu-jitsu's the best. It's been proven time and time and time and over and over and over again. And I know that there's a bunch of variables and things that can change athleticism and fitness and those kinds of things. But I think we've done a really good job proving jiu-jitsu's salt in the martial art community. So, I was looking online at some statistics, and believe it or not, the world is the safest that it's ever been. It's never been a safer time to be alive than it is right now. And I know that's weird because in the news cycles, we see all this negative stuff and all these nasty things, and we think that the world is so dangerous, but it's actually much more safe than it's ever been, which is encouraging, but it's also kind of depressing because this world is very dangerous. There are a lot of real dangers that still exist in the world today. And to be totally honest with you, there is nothing better when it comes to hands-on self-defense. There is nothing better that you can have in your possession than a blue belt. We tell our students all the time, if you want jiu-jitsu for nothing more than self-defense, if you just want to know that you can handle yourself in this world, you can stop training at blue belt. You have everything that you need in order to have a good self-defense. In fact, it was a requirement for my daughter when she was growing up. Her options were before dating that she needed to be 16 and have a blue belt. So those were the boundaries that we drew for her. And she was one of the many women who she went through jiu-jitsu and she was awesome and a wonderful person and obedient and all of those things. And she went through and earned her blue belt to make her daddy happy and be satisfied that she could defend herself. But she's since walked away from jiu-jitsu. So I recognize that not everybody is going to love jiu-jitsu. Not everybody's going to want to keep doing this sport. And for some people, it's not even an option, whether it's physically or maybe there isn't any academies, as even though there's lots of academies around the world today, there's still places that exist that jiu-jitsu is just not an option. So what do we do in that case? What are some options for self-defense? Now, I know that for most of us, we think, well, if I don't have this kind of self-defense, then I'll just get a gun or a deterrent. And I think that that's reasonable in most cases, but it's not always the best option. There are obviously there's guns and knives, those kind of things, and then there's deterrents, which are like pepper sprays and the ungun. Have you guys seen that? A gun that shoots like OC spray. It's pretty neat. Good options, but not always the perfect option. And I'll tell you why. Here are a couple of reasons why I don't think carrying a weapon is a perfect option. That in some places, it's not always acceptable in society. Now, I live in a city where everybody who wants to open carries a firearm, and it's no big deal. Like a bunch of people do it, and nobody makes a scene about it. There's people in Walmart, there's people in movie theaters, there's people at farmers markets and all over the place that are just open carrying, and that's fine. And a vast majority of people, if they're not open carrying, at least in my city, if they're not open carrying, I promise you they are concealed carrying, or they have a weapon at access. There's probably one in their vehicle or several in their vehicle. So I live in a very, very safe place. You would think that would be dangerous, but it's actually not. It's a very, very safe place. And I think when people open carry, it actually lends itself to a safer environment. But if you're attacked and let's say you're in a place that isn't open carry friendly, or you're just not the type to carry open, well, then it's safe to say that your weapon or your deterrent is tucked away somewhere that's inconvenient to get. Like if it's a woman, it's probably deep in her purse. She might not have her hands on it. It could be in her waist belt or strapped around her ankle. And in those cases, it can be very, very difficult to get to. And if somebody attacks you from the side or from the back or tackles you, now you have to wrestle to fight for that gun or that deterrent. And that can be very, very difficult. And in the worst case scenario, if you're fumbling around to find your weapon or your deterrent, it can actually end up in the hands of the assailant. And so unless you practice a great deal, and I know guys and girls who practice a great deal and they can draw their firearm clean and fast and they can get on target, but man, that takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of time, but it can be very difficult in some cases to deploy your deterrent or to deploy your weapon safely. So what are my options? Well, the holy trinity of self-defense is situational awareness, preparedness, and readiness. And maybe I'll do a video dedicated to those three things, but all those things don't necessarily include a form of martial art or boxing or physical self-defense. I think they're very important. Obviously, I think I'm an advocate for those things. I definitely think that you need some form of physical self-defense. But if you can remember to be situationally aware, if you can be prepared and you can be ready, if you can do those things, then that will really set you off on the right path of effective self-defense. Jeff, thanks again for that question. And I think it points to a larger group. Maybe it's men who don't want to be in jiu-jitsu or can't for whatever reason, or men who have women in their life who want those women to be protected. We want to know that our girlfriend or our wife, our daughter, our sister, our aunt, that we know that they're safe in this world, but we also know that they're never going to join a martial art and they're never going to get on the jiu-jitsu mats because of whatever reason. And so what alternatives do we have? What other options do we have? So to give you some more concrete options, I've brought my wife and fellow professor of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu into the studio where we talk about our favorite tips of what we can do to be aware, to be prepared, and to be ready. I think first and foremost, it's important that we understand that this can happen to us.
Right.
If you think that this never can happen to you, I think for the most of us, for most humans, because we live in a peaceful era, we could go through our whole lives and never experience any type of violence. But I think we are very fortunate if that happens. So I think the first step to really heightening your sense of awareness is recognizing that this can happen to you, that's possible. Assaults happen in all kinds of places. They happen on the streets, they happen in cars, they happen in schools, they happen in parks, they happen in alleys. And these attackers have no regard for age or social status or race. They don't care about any of those things. They're just looking for a victim.
Just on the practicality side of things, the dark does hide a lot. So something to just keep in mind is wherever you are, just make sure that it's well lit, that the light is on. If your normal lighting's not functioning right, look around. Just be aware of what's around you. Be familiar with where you're going so that you know what to look for when you're in a place that's not well lit. You say, oh, that looks a little out of order, or just so that you're familiar with the area that you're in. It's not uncommon for a criminal to take out a light or mess with the light either. So just be aware, like if the light's out, that's fishy, and make sure you're looking around to make sure you're ready to unlock a door.
And when you're talking about doors in your home, I think it's also a good idea to check IDs. If somebody's coming to your house, they should have some kind of identification. I recognize that people can fake that sort of thing, and it's probably pretty easy to fake that sort of thing. But I think that's pretty easy way to stay engaged and to stay with a heightened sense of awareness. It's just like knowing who you're talking to.
And while you're home or wherever you find yourself, whether you're shopping or, running errands, or wherever you are, even if you're just home, I think it's important to always give the impression that you are with somebody.
I think you should also be aware of like potential hiding spaces. So especially if you live like in an apartment complex or a condominium, there's probably some outgrowths or bushes or rocks or maybe some dark corners. These are places where somebody might ambush me from.
Right. Or get on the front office to say, hey, keep these trimmed, keep these bushes cut down, or, keep these branches peeled back. Just make sure that everywhere you're at, you have clear vision into all the little hidey holes.
Yeah, exactly. And then, if you have the option, let's say it's in your house, if you have the option, probably a good idea to plant something spiky or something uninviting. I know that we have some ground level windows, but we have rose bushes, which of course the deer just absolutely destroy. But the idea...
But even they hate the thorns.
Yeah, the idea is that there's a thorny, unwelcome environment right by the ground level.
Right. If you try
windows.
to enter, you're getting lit up.
What about if you come home and it appears that your house has been forcibly entered, like the door's wide open or the garage door is kinked, or you notice that the handle is kind of hanging off at an edge? Probably a good idea to not go in.
Right. If you have any suspicion, don't go in. Get somewhere safe and call the police.
Yeah, it's a good idea to know your neighbors, right? So that you have somebody's house to go to and be like, hey, it might be nothing. Where we live, it's very, very windy, not uncommon for the wind to blow open a door. Might be a good idea to go to your neighbor's house and say, hey, I just want to make some phone calls. I noticed that my door was wide open. I didn't want to go rushing into my house.
Another practical, I think, and I practice, is make it a habit to fill up your car during the day. Make it a habit to do your shopping during the day. All those errands that not only take time, but that fill your hands, that keep your hands busy so your hands are not free. Do those during the day.
And it's not that it's impossible to be attacked in the daytime, but it's far less likely. And also there's more people around and there's like less shenanigans happen
right
in the light. I think it's also a good idea to lock your car door immediately after you get into it. I don't know about you guys, but I'm always in the habit of when I get in my car, I want to answer some text messages, or I'm usually making a phone call. And really the first thing that anybody should do is just lock that door.
I was just having a conversation about that, about how in the hot months, sometimes you get in and you want to leave the door open to let the heat escape. Not a good idea as far as self-defense goes. Get in, make sure you're safe. Another practical I like is to make sure that I'm parked someplace that's lit. Park in a highly visible area. The front row of wherever you're going, as close to the front as you can get, as under the light as you can get. Just somewhere that's incredibly visible. When I'm parking, I park right by where you return the carts. I park so that my driver's side door is closer to those, closer to where you return the carts. That way, another car cannot pull up by my driver's side door. So I stay safe on that side.
So I've seen these videos, these really scary videos of these like guys who are abducting people, and they literally just get into somebody's car. And I know that we feel like, I've got strong ownership over my car. It's my car. It's my personal space. But my opinion, as far as like a self-defense mindset, is if somebody gets into your car and they have bad intent, and unless it's like some lost old person, this person has bad intent. If somebody gets in your car, get out.
Right. I mean, even if it is sadly like a lost old person, get out and talk to them from outside of the car. Because that would be very scary. And I mean, I've seen situations, just people posting situations where the person, held them at, some kind of a weapon point, and that was scary and wouldn't let them out of the car. My goodness, what do I do then? Buckle up and crash the car.
Yeah, exactly.
Do what you have to do.
Yeah, crash the car in a way that's the safest way possible, that maybe can even kind of pin that other person in.
Yeah.
So that you can hop out. I think at some point we all become the pedestrian. We all have to walk somewhere for some reason. And we always tell people that it's best to walk towards or facing oncoming traffic. And, you don't need to look much further than YouTube for people being abducted. But if you're walking with traffic, it's very easy for somebody to pull alongside the curb, open their door and
right.
bring you into the car. And so if you're walking towards traffic, if traffic is coming at you while you walk, it's much more difficult to be abducted that way.
And if you are walking and you get nervous, like, oh my gosh, like my spidey senses are tingling, I think somebody's following me, do what you have to do to get away and find somewhere public that you can go. Find somewhere that's crowded with lots of people, and go places cars can't. You know, I mean, in your body, you can climb fences, you can cut through yards, you can hide in dog houses, you can do a lot of things that a car can't follow you to. So go somewhere where a car cannot follow you.
Yeah, and if you're being followed in person and you feel like you're in trouble, just start attracting attention to yourself. Like get loud, get noisy.
A thing that I tell a lot of ladies that come to my self-defense class is trust your instincts. Trust your instincts. No, you are not crazy. No, you're not being paranoid. Don't worry about those kind of things. If your spidey senses are tingling, if something's going off inside of you, then trust that. It's better to be safe. You know, it's better to trust that little voice that's telling you, don't go in there.
You know, years and years ago, if we jump into the Wayback Machine, you and I used to work at a bar.
That's the way back machine.
Yeah, the Wayback Machine. And it's a lot of fun, but something I used to tell people then and something I tell people today is to never leave your drink unattended ever in any situation. There's two things that you should always do when you have a drink. First of all, you should never have your picture taken with a drink in your hand, and you should never leave your drink unattended, ever.
Right. I'm so glad we came up before Facebook.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Speaking of being in the bar, though, and being at a club, ladies, you might think it's rude to say no to somebody, but, you know, because maybe they're trying to be nice and like, oh, let's buy that person a drink over there. But honestly, if you don't know the person, then don't accept a drink from people that you don't know. You don't know what they've done. You don't know. You just don't know. And it's better to keep yourself safe. Even if, you know, the bartender is giving you the drink and saying, oh, it's from that guy. You don't know if that guy knows the bartender. Just say a quick, I appreciate the thought. No, thanks.
But if you're feeling sick or dizzy at a bar, this happened all the time when we were bartending. People get sick, you know, maybe they go out to eat and, you know, they got sick from dinner. It could be something totally benign, but there is a chance that somebody slipped something into your drink or, you know, they had it on their hands or, so if you're feeling sick or dizzy while you're out or in a social situation, you should definitely find somebody that you know. Call somebody right away. But if you're out socially with some other friends, let them know that you're not feeling well and then just buddy up. Wherever they go, you go.
Always look at the situation that you're in. Never stop assessing what's going on here. So just keep in mind the situation that you're in. Always look around, always assess the situation. And God forbid, but if something does happen and you feel like, oh my gosh, I am losing this battle, don't stop. Don't ever stop assessing your situation. Look for an out. There's always an out. Just keep looking for it until you find it.
Yeah. And if you are alone and you are forced into a vehicle, your life is in danger. This is not a time to give up. Don't wait for, if they say, oh, I promise I'll let you make a phone call. You just be very chill and everything's going to be fine. Everything is not going to be fine. Your life is in danger and you need to do everything in your power to get out of that vehicle, even if the vehicle is still moving.
Exactly.
It's better for you to get out of that vehicle.
We have these wonderful inventions called cell phones that we didn't have when I was younger, but keep yours on you and always let someone know where you're going. Always let, even if it's your friend, if it's your parent, whoever it is, just let someone know, hey, I'm going to this place. I'm going to check back with you when I get back. That's something that our daughter actually did when she lived out of state. When she'd go any place, you know, she'd be like, hey, Mom, I'm going to Safeway. It's kind of dark out, so I'm going to check back in with you when I get back. Just make sure somebody knows where you're going and that you got back safe.
Yeah, and just be alert. I remember we used to tell her all the time, like, just be alert. Pay attention. You know, we're so distracted by so many things. We've got our phones are lighting up with the phones are a great tool, but they're also a great distraction.
Right.
And life is a great distraction. You know, you could be distracted by somebody that you find is good looking or a sale on the wall or whatever, and then all of a sudden you're not paying attention.
Right.
to where you are. And I think one of the things, just, man, when you come out of a shopping mall, especially, or if you come out of like a, you've just been grocery shopping, or maybe you're out to buy shoes or whatever the thing is,
Yeah.
that seems to be where people are most distracted. They went out and they did something nice for themselves and they got something cool, or, maybe they were shopping for somebody else and they got a handful of gifts and they're thinking about how wonderful it's going to be to give these gifts away. And their mind is everywhere except where it should be in that moment.
When I'm shopping, I like to use the buddy system. Like, I don't like to do things alone a lot. So I do go with a friend. And, whoever's driving, we kind of have a thing, where whoever's driving will be like, hey, hold on, wait till I get inside, will ya? Would that be okay if you wait in your car, wait till I just make sure I got in? And, for my friends, we don't even have to ask anymore. We just do it. And then you kind of flicker on and off the lights to say, I'm safe.
Yeah, I even do that with my guy friends. And I always feel weird because they never do that for me. But I always wait until they get into their house. And I know that they can handle themselves. I know. But you just know, like, I don't want my friend to get ambushed. I want to be there.
You want to be backup.
Yeah, exactly. Which is another interesting thing. I know a handful of people recently who have bought new houses or gotten new apartments. And I always tell people, if it's an apartment, then you need to talk to the head of the apartment. But if it's your home, I always demand that those doors be rekeyed.
Yes.
Because you just don't know how many keys are floating around. And even if the apartment manager's like, hey, we rekeyed it, it shouldn't really be a big deal for them to replace the core for you. Just like, hey, it's $4 to rekey a lock. I think it's always a really good idea to rekey your home or rekey your apartment when you buy it. But also, if you've gone a long period where you've lived there for a long, long time, and maybe you've given some keys away to some friends or to some family members, not a bad idea to revisit your lock situation and rekey those locks.
I think it's helpful. It's practical. Keep a big flashlight in your car, because you could break down on the side of the road, but my goodness, if you're in the dark and you break down on the side of the road and somebody kind of scary comes at you, you've got a light, but you've also got just a weapon. Mm-hmm. I think it's important to have something like that. And my parents used to, when I'd go out, they'd give me they'd like slip me a $5 and be like, this is mad money, which is like, if you're going out and, you get mad at your date, this is mad money so you can call me. You can get home.
Yeah.
And I think that's another practical is to, have a weapon in your car, but also have some mad money that if you have to leave the situation, you have some money to get you in contact with somebody safe.
Right. Or if you get in your car and you meant to get gas during the day, but you forgot, and now you're out of gas, or, then you're in there, maybe messing with the card swiper's not working or whatever. It's just good to have a little cash.
A little cash.
Yeah, a little cash in your car. And I think also you should have some just be prepared in your car. You should have some other things that you might need, like, I don't know, some wiper blades, windshield washer fluid. They do sell extra fuel cells that you can put inside your car that are, they're protected, they're not flammable, and they don't smell bad. But just some general safety stuff.
Just an emergency kit for emergency breakdown and for emergency stranded. You might want some warm clothes or some, especially us ladies, like when we go out places, we like to wear our cute shoes, but keep some of those like tennis shoes close at hand in case you have to walk somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you find yourself in a dangerous position, I know I keep saying this, but I think it bears repeating. If you find yourself in a dangerous position, flee.
Yeah.
Just get out. Trust your instincts, like you said. Mm-hmm. And if you find yourself in a dangerous spot, I know we're talking about cars, but it just made me think of it. Like, man, if you're in a dangerous spot, just get out. Get out of there.
Yeah. Also, cars, hitchhikers. I've seen them a lot on not as much anymore now that the weather's cooling off, but all summer, oh man, we had a lot of people just walking, hitching a ride. And I would tell people, as far as I know, don't ever do that. Call somebody, get to a phone, walk there yourself, and don't pick up strangers. Don't pick up hitchhikers. It seems like the nice thing to do, but your safety is not worth the risk of being the nice guy.
Exactly. And if somebody in a car begins to harass you, and we saw this, we've got some family in Vegas, and we go down and visit, and people in cars, they're like, hollering. Some of it's totally harmless, but if somebody begins to harass you, and let's say you're walking the same direction as traffic, which I've already encourage you guys not to do. But let's say you are walking in line with traffic and somebody begins to harass you, just turn around and start walking the other way, because that person is in a vehicle. And if they want to get out and grab you, or if they want to continue to harass you, they're actually going to have to go to the next light or the stop sign and pull a U-turn in order to be able to come back and keep harassing you.
Well, I like that with cities that they are big. There's a lot going on. And so if people are harassing you, if they're following you, if they're, if you feel unsafe, there's businesses, there's a lot of businesses, and they're always close by and they're always open.
Yeah.
So find an open business and get yourself there.
Absolutely. When you were talking about that, it just reminded me of something that Hicks and Gracie used to talk about, called invisible jiu-jitsu. And that is like when we feel confident, we kind of wear our confidence on the outside. And most attackers would prefer a very passive or docile victim. They want to sneak up on the victim. They want to ambush the victim. And so just by presenting yourself in a real confident way can really deter a potential attack, because you don't look like somebody that they want to attack, because you're looking around, you're making eye contact, you're aware of your situation, you're not afraid to engage in the world that surrounds you.
I do like how you say to just wear that confidence on the outside, and that is so important. But some people, for whatever reason, they just have they want to come at you, and if God forbid somebody come at you and your attacker they want your valuables. They want, like, give me your money, give me your jewelry, give me your rings. You guys, if you can buy it once, you can buy it again. Just give them your stuff. Give them without a fight. Stay calm. Be aware. Get a really good look at them. Get a really good description of them so you can report it to the police.
Yeah, it's a great point. If they're not attacking you, if they're not presenting any danger to you, like, I know it'd be rough to give up your stuff. I wouldn't want to give up my stuff either. But in that moment, you have got to understand, are they attacking me, or do they just want the things that are in my pocket?
Right.
Because that's easy, right? Those things are replaceable.
Exactly.
Like you said.
And you're not.
Yeah. The other thing I think about if you're in that situation is just to get things in between you and the attacker. So if somebody's trying to attack you, they need to get to you. So put some stuff in between the two of you in a parking lot, then get to the other side of the car. If you're in a place where there's other people, get other people in between you and the attacker. Get a table or a chair, whatever it is that you can grab.
I agree. I think responding to a possible attack is way better than reacting once that attack is starting to happen. So it's better to just cover that ground, cover that in between, and keep the attack from happening.
I know it's kind of random, but I just thinking about our days at the bar and watching women leave the bar late at night and walking home or walking around the streets of Denver, and can be really dangerous. And we always suggest, yes, you should walk against traffic, right? Traffic should be coming at you, but you should also walk, and I know this is kind of dangerous, but you should walk towards the side of the curb.
Yeah.
And I know that puts you closer to the traffic, so don't be impaired. If you're going to do that, if there's any chance you're going to fall off the curb, don't do that. But you shouldn't be out walking around if you're impaired anyways. But if you walk closer to the curb, you're further away from where people might be able to be in those hiding spaces and to pull you in.
What if you're exercising? What if you're walking or you're jogging? I know a lot of us like to have our theme music, dun, 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 blasting in us. But it is so important to be able to hear what's going on around you. And I advise people, even though you might feel like you're getting a better workout when you have music going on, find a better way. Headphones, anything that impairs your hearing can be a huge distraction and keep you from being alert.
Yeah, no one's gonna appreciate that advice, but it's so good. If you wanna jam out to your music, then you should really put yourself on a treadmill inside of a gym where you're safe. But to be out in a park and to be, especially if you're a nighttime jogger or an early morning jogger, it really is the best idea not to impair any of your senses.
Right.
And this next one I have, I don't think people are going to thank me for this one either, but I think you should always have something comfortable to wear. I know you ladies love to wear your high heels, and you mentioned this a little earlier, and you look good, and we appreciate that. But high heels are literally the dumbest invention when it comes to
safety.
Safety and mobility. So you want to wear a pair of heels out. That's fine. But have a pair of tennis shoes in the car that you can wear to and from, and make your date carry your shoes. Like they'll be happy to do that. But you should always have some. If you can't run away, like if you're wearing something that's impairing your ability to get away from the situation, it's not smart.
I don't do the clueless thing at the mall, but my goodness, when I come out of Walmart, I got a lot of bags. And sometimes I don't have a lot of bags. Sometimes I just have a few. But if you're loaded with a bunch of bags, get the bags in, get in, lock your door, arrange everything later. Something else that I like to do, where even if I just have like a few bags, is make sure I at least have one hand free. So if I have like 5 or 6 bags and they're on both my arms, I'm not going to carry them to my car. Yes, I can, but I'm going to still take the little cart out because I want my hands free for those moments of, just in case. I want to have all my weapons available to me, and I'm going to need my hands.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've got one too. And I see people come out of the grocery store and they've got stuff they want to put in their trunk. It's like they go to their trunk and they fumble around with their key fob, and they finally get their trunk open and they load up their trunk, and then they bring the cart to the little cart corral. If you're a good person, you bring it to the cart corral.
I will judge you.
Yes, exactly. You're being judged. And then you go back to your car, and then you're fumbling around with your keys again to find So when you go to the car, you know that you need to get in the car.
Yeah.
Unlock all the doors.
Yeah.
Just unlock all the doors first, then unlock the trunk. So it's like a little set your priorities. Throw all your stuff in the trunk, do what you need to do. And then if you need to breakneck speed to get to your car, it's already unlocked. It's already ready to go. You can just get in there.
When you're out with your friends, don't split up. Don't split up at the end of the night, So when you're walking out and you all need to go to your cars, stay as a group. Everybody just pile in one car. Even if there's too many people, that's kind of fun, actually. Like, we got to fit all 15 of us in this little car. Everybody sit on a lap. But drive your friends to their car. And that way you just make sure that everybody gets to their car safely. Because it is scary when you leave at night and everybody kind of goes their own different directions. Where if you can stay as a group, in one car and just drive each person to their car, it's not only better for you to not be walking alone out in the dark, but it's also better for you in that everybody made it safe.
Well, one thing that happens here every year, we can count on it. We have really rough winters where we live. And one thing I'm constantly telling my students to do is to prepare an emergency kit for their cars. I know, like, we run to like Jiu-jitsu, for example. We're basically wearing our pajamas. And, we got bare feet and no socks on, and we're driving in 3 feet of snow and it's icy. And if something happens, we're stuck out there in our pajamas with no shoes on, And so it's always good to have some extra clothing in your car, something warm. Because here's the thing, if you're stranded, especially for any amount of time, and you're cold or hungry or scared or uncomfortable, your judgment level just drops exponentially. And you're going to make some bad decisions. You get in a car with anybody who's like, hey, just get in my car and you can warm up, And if you're like, hey, that's cool. I got my own set of Carhartts in here. I'm totally warm. Yeah. You can wait in your car and I'll wait in my car. If you could just call me a tow truck, that'd be good. But just to have some kind of emergency kit, an extra pair of clothing, shoes, socks, a jacket,
right? Something
you can be comfortable in.
We not only get bad weather, we also get a lot of potholes. Our streets are not the best, and I see a lot of tire remnants on the road sometimes. So I would also add to that to learn how to change a tire, learn how to change a flat, learn how to put a donut on. Sometimes you might have to drive to a gas station or a store on a flat, and it might destroy the tire. But my goodness, you are worth it to stay safe.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. If you've got a flat tire and you don't know how to change it, then you ride the rim until you get to a gas station or a public place. And I know that every man watching this was just like, ugh, kind of cringe a little bit.
I know.
But I think we will all agree. I think any man would agree that any woman in their life, it's worth it to us to have to deal with whatever kind of damage is caused to the vehicle to know that they were safe.
Well, yes, as a woman, if I don't know how to change a tire, I'm gonna ride that flat tire somewhere public because I know also there's a lot of gentlemen who would pull up and who would say, hey, can I help you? And some of them have great intentions and some of them don't. And to me, it's not worth the risk. I will ride that tire all the way until I know I can be in a safe place where I can change it, and where people can watch me change it.
And there's so many. We barely even scratched the surface.
Oh,
there
yeah.
there are so many tips, and I'm going to leave a much bigger list in the description section below this video so that you can kind of go through them. These were just some of the ones that we cherry picked, some of the ones that we like to talk about. But there are other options for you if jiu-jitsu isn't a viable option for you, if you're never going to find yourself on the mats or in a jiu-jitsu academy, and you want some viable self-defense options, I think some of these things could really, really be helpful. Again, it's about situational awareness, it's about preparedness, and it's about readiness.
Right. Invisible jiu-jitsu.
Exactly. So, hey, thanks so much for giving us some of your time. And I definitely appreciate your insight. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. And thank you guys for watching. I hope that you have an amazing week of training. I hope that you have all the joy and all the fun and all those good things that come about in the environment of jiu-jitsu. And as always, I will see you on the mats.